Hello there YouTube, welcome along to this movie review that I've decided to do, and today we're going to be talking about the Jaws movies. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, I just decided to start with that, okay? Anyway, you know, because that essentially is a very iconic part of Jaws, isn't it? Is the theme. That's the very iconic part of Jaws. What were my thoughts on all four Jaws movies? Because obviously you had the original movie Jaws, and then you had Jaws 2, Jaws 3, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and Jaws the Revenge. So there was 4 films in that franchise. And yeah, so actually I'm going to start with Jaws 3 because there's a little bit of a fact about Jaws 3. Jaws 3 is one of those movies that was released in cinemas all those years ago. And it was released in cinemas at a time when 3D was a massive thing. 3D was huge. You know, obviously. So yeah, so they made this movie, Jaws 3, and they made the movie look as if it's in 3D. So like there was some underwater parts like fishes and, you know, and body parts that had been ripped apart from the shark. And stuff underwater that looked like as if it was like going to come out the screen, you know. So, and I bet at the time it must have been really scary watching that on screen in the cinema, you know, just seeing all these like body parts floating in the water in 3D with your 3D glasses on. It must have been really scary. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I mean, looking at the Jaws franchise itself, I absolutely love the original. I think the original was probably the best out of all 4 of them, you know. And I think the main reason why is because of the fact that Steven Spielberg directed it. And obviously you've got to love Spielberg's work. You know, you've probably watched a movie before that has been directed by Steven Spielberg, you know. I mean, if you haven't seen Jaws before, then, I mean, there's another one I can give as an example, E.T. You know, E.T. is another one of Steven Spielberg's work. You know, and again, it's just such an amazing movie that is, and which is why I do think Jaws is the same, you know. It's got that iconic theme, you know, and I mean, it's not too gory, it's not too violent neither, you know, but I mean, what would I say? I mean, when I looked back and watched Jaws, I'd probably say there's just probably one scene, maybe a couple of scenes actually. Yeah, there's a couple of scenes. So there's one scene where there was some characters that are underwater, and basically you see like this decapitated head underwater, which looks very creepy. And then there's another scene as well where you can see like a woman's hand as well that had been bitten off by a shark. So, but yeah, apart from that, I mean, to be honest with you, like I say, I think Jaws has probably got to be the one that's probably the most outstanding. I think the problem with the other 3 was, and I mean, Jaws 3, don't get me wrong, would probably be like the second, you know, the second best movie. I would probably say Jaws 3 is the second, and then I'd say Jaws 2 would be in third, and then Jaws the Revenge would be 4th. I didn't really like Jaws the Revenge that much. I don't know, I just didn't really, I wasn't there with it, you know. I wasn't in, you know, my heart didn't belong in that story, I would probably say, in that movie. But I mean, I think that's the other problem, is all 4 Jaws movies, they were directed by 4 different directors. You know, you had Spielberg in one of them, then you had another one in Jaws 2, then you had another one in Jaws 3, and then another one in Jaws the Revenge, you know. And I think if the movie had this, like, you know, if it had this, I don't know, if they just had the same director for the same movie, if Spielberg just kept directing all 3 other movies, I think the franchise would have done really well. But you know, I think after Jaws 2, it's, you know, I mean, like I say, Jaws 3 wasn't too bad, you know. But I think after Jaws 2 and Jaws the Revenge, you're like, you know, really, you know, it kind of gets a bit boring now, because it's kind of the same story. I mean, obviously I know what Jaws is about. Obviously it's about a shark that goes around killing people in the sea, you know, and that is technically the storyline all throughout the movie, you know, all throughout all 4 movies. So of course it is. And then obviously you've got people who are out at sea trying to kill the shark, you know. And, you know, spoiler alert here, in case you've never seen the movies, but they do succeed in the end, of course they do. But I'm not going to spoil how they kill the shark though, okay? I'll let you guys watch the movies for yourself to find out how they kill the shark if you've never seen Jaws before. But, yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's one of those films I haven't really seen before. I've seen parts of Jaws, and I think I've seen parts of Jaws 3 as well, but I've never really sat down and watched all of them all in one go, which I'm so glad that I have now sat down and watched all of them in one go, because they are really great movies. I mean, more so Jaws than Jaws 3, Jaws 2, than Jaws the Revenge, to be honest, you know. But yeah, apart from that's all that I can say really about Jaws. Is that, you know, it is definitely a franchise that I would definitely, I mean, I would recommend still for people to watch, to go away and watch. That's for sure. So, you know, if you've never seen Jaws before, then sit down one day and watch it, because honestly, they are still great movies. And obviously they didn't use a real, before you go into this franchise thinking, wait, did they really use a live shark, you know, and did these actors or actresses really get killed? No, of course they didn't. Yeah, they must have used some sort of like mechanical shark to use underwater and stuff, because they still had the technology to do that back then, you know. So there we go. So don't worry, they didn't use a real shark, so don't worry. Although saying that, they do say that Jaws is part of the horror genre, which I never really knew about. I didn't really label Jaws as a horror franchise, you know. I mean, I guess it is in a way kind of a horror franchise, because it is quite, in a way, there is some gory scenes in it, obviously, where you see decapitated body parts underwater and stuff. But, I mean, I would probably lean it more against the thriller genre rather than the horror genre, you know. So, there we go, anyway. So, yeah, so that's my review of Jaws for you. So I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please hit the subscribe button down below for you. Anyway, and that's all from me for today. Thank you for joining me. Join me next time in Steve's movie reviews, as I will next be reviewing The Hunger Games. But from me though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video.